People think they leave their childhood behind when they become adults. But psychology says something far stranger. Your past doesn't stay in the past. It hides in your reactions, your relationships, and the way you talk to yourself. If you've ever felt like you're overreacting to something small, you're not broken. A younger part of you is still trying very hard to keep you safe. Stay with that thought for a moment, because this is one of the quietest tragedies of being human. The very pain we wanted to run from ends up becoming the pattern we keep repeating. Maybe you notice it in the partners you choose. Different faces, similar feeling. You tell yourself, this time it's different. But sooner or later, you find yourself back in the familiar place, feeling ignored or controlled, or like you have to earn every bit of affection. Or maybe it shows up at work. You hear a slightly critical tone from your boss, and your chest tightens. Rationally, you know it's not the end of the world, but your body reacts as if your entire worth is on trial. You can't explain why this one comment ruins your whole day. You just feel small again. Here's the strange thing. Your brain doesn't file everything under then and now, especially not emotional experiences. When you were a child, your nervous system was still wiring itself, learning what was safe and what was dangerous, what love felt like and what love might cost you. Those lessons didn't become memories you look back on. They became habits of feeling. Psychologists sometimes call this implicit memory. It's not a clear story you can tell. It's more like an emotional reflex. If you grew up walking on eggshells around a volatile parent, your body might still tighten around any sign of irritation from others. Not because you're dramatic, but because once upon a time, noticing tiny shifts in someone's mood helped you survive. Research on attachment gives a simple, almost painful way of understanding this. Early on, your brain builds a kind of template for relationships based on how your caregivers responded to you. Were they warm and attentive, unpredictable, emotionally distant, overwhelming? Studies have found that these early patterns tend to echo in adult relationships, in how much you trust, how quickly you pull away, how desperate or numb you feel when someone gets close. So if you grew up with love that always came with criticism, you might now feel strangely drawn to people who make you prove yourself. If you had to be the easy child to avoid causing trouble, you might become the adult who never says no, who takes on everyone's burdens and then secretly resents it. On the surface, it looks like random choices. Underneath, it's your nervous system choosing what feels familiar, not necessarily what feels good. But here's the part most people miss. Childhood pain doesn't just show up in who you're with. It shows up in how you treat yourself when you're alone. Maybe you hear a voice in your head that says, "Don't be so sensitive," because that's what you were told when you cried. Maybe you shut down your own needs because needing anything used to lead to disappointment. Maybe you sabotage opportunities because a part of you is sure that if you succeed, someone will take it away or leave. Inside, there's often a conflict. One part of you craving closeness, another part terrified of being hurt again. One part longing to be seen, another convinced that if anyone really knew you, they would walk away. So you hover in this strange middle, not fully alone, not fully connected, busy, productive, even fine, and yet deeply lonely. Think about this for a moment. A child can't afford to believe that their caregivers are broken. It's too terrifying. So instead, they usually decide there must be something wrong with me. That conclusion can become the quiet background music of an entire life. From a philosophical angle, it's as if we spend adulthood reenacting old stories, hoping to finally get a different ending. We chase people who resemble our first sources of pain, not because we enjoy suffering, but because some part of us is trying to rewrite the script. Like, if I can finally make someone like this love me, then maybe I was worthy all along. Existentially, this is the difficulty of being a conscious creature with a history. You didn't choose your first experiences of love, neglect, chaos, or silence. They just happened to you. But they became the lens through which you see everything now. What you deserve, what is possible, how safe it is to exist. Stoic thinkers talked about the difference between what we control and what we don't. You can't go back and give that younger version of you the parents, the safety, the understanding they needed. That is outside of your power. But there is something you can gradually influence. How you relate to that younger self today. Whether you dismiss them the way others did or finally listen. This isn't about fixing yourself or erasing the past. It's about gently noticing, in real time, my reaction right now is bigger than this moment. Who am I actually defending myself from? Whose voice am I hearing? Sometimes just realizing that a 7-year-old part of you is the one panicking can soften the edges a little. Not heal everything, just soften. And maybe slowly, you begin to offer that younger self what they never got. A bit of patience, the freedom to feel what they feel without being shamed, the right to exist without constantly earning it. Your childhood pain shows up in your adult life not because you failed to move on, but because your mind and body are still loyal to the strategies that once kept you alive. They are outdated maps, yes, but they were drawn with the best tools you had at the time. The work of adulthood, if we can even call it work, isn't to tear up those maps in disgust, but to update them with compassion, to say, thank you for getting me this far. We don't have to travel this way anymore. Did this resonate with you? Have you noticed old patterns from your childhood quietly shaping your adult life? If you'd like to keep exploring these darker, quieter corners of the mind together, you're welcome to subscribe and stay with this journey.